Um, so for our final video, our assignment was, if I was dropped into American culture without any pre-knowledge, what would I think about American society if I had only our entertainment media as reference? Frankly, I think that, Americans are very outspoken and they have that freedom because of the entertainment. There's so many choices and there's definitely different cultures and traditions that are involved. So there's obviously this big melting pot, and I think anyone that's not from here can appreciate the fact that there are so many different ways to do things, different languages, you know, different aspects that make us one country. You can turn the channel, especially with entertainment, you can turn the channel, be on a Spanish station. You can turn it and be back on English. You can turn it, be on a Christian station. I think that, even understanding it, that it is important that a lot of the different cultures and um, religions and beliefs and everything is still being able to be broadcasted. And I also think that even with it being such a broad, you know, variety of stuff like that, there's some restrictions though. And I'd say, the government is also very cooperative, and we can talk about our president in a regular tone, but you know, you have that freedom of speech where we can joke about a president and probably not be killed. And, comedians can do that, and news reporters can state their opinions or how they feel about it. Of course, that's how we learned it. But if I was someone that didn't know about everything beforehand, I would definitely think that they would appreciate the combination of religions and beliefs and all of that combine into the American culture, and definitely the entertainment business, because there are restrictions, and yet you can make a movie about anything because you're always gonna have support from some kind of audience. So I think that's important. Um, as I review American culture and our technology, what ways would I say culture and technology impact relationships of all types? I guess for technology wise, I'd say that we're pretty advanced. Of course, we don't get probably not as fast as Japan and China and all the high context uh is that what I want to say? Context? I don't know. But probably not as advanced as everywhere in the world, but we are just as advanced and definitely one of the most advanced. And I would definitely appreciate the the benefit of having everything at my fingertips. I think, one thing anybody would be surprised about in America is coming here and like everyone has a cell phone, everyone has an iPhone, everyone has an iPad, everyone's technologically inclined. Like even with Native Americans or native um, digital natives or digital immigrants, I think it's safe to say that we all have some kind of technology based, you know, background, or we are trying to be technologically savvy. So I think that would be an important thing to notice, because our technology pretty much rules what goes on around us. And I think anyone would notice that, how everywhere you go, technology is a widespread that's just pretty much taking over. At the end, oh, and reflecting on the class, I'd have to say two of my favorite topics had to be um, media bias, because I think you can relate, and I like topics that we can relate to, and we, even though we did a lot of stuff that was easy to relate to, I like media bias simply because we discovered that it's not intentional. And I think being on the outside looking in, you kind of think, oh, they're biased. They don't listen to opinions and stuff like that because, and like we said, you usually think things are biased when they don't support your view or your ideas or beliefs. So I think that's why that was interesting for me, and I liked learning about the different kinds of bias and how it comes about, and the fact that it's not intentional, and that actually it makes me look at things a different way. So maybe I'll do what the one kid did and actually look at stuff not because I support it, I probably don't have to support it, but to understand that that's their point of view, and maybe it'll make things more interesting. So I like media bias. And another thing I thought was more relatable to is digital divide, because with it being that today's technology is advancing, sometimes you think only, the the low income people can't afford the new iPhone, or, but it was easy to relate and say that is true, because the people that do have the money or do have the sources to get the new technology will have it first. Because even back home in the Virgin Islands, like our classes, we have like Promethean boards and stuff like that. And then in America, it's kind of like they already had that, or some didn't. Even we talked about that in class, where they're giving out iPads in certain classes, and in other schools, like, you know, you're lucky to get to watch TV. I thought that was pretty interesting to actually break it down and kind of understand why it is like that. Because I think we all just have our own opinion. But all in all, this class just made it easy to relate and understand technology and the way things happen in our culture, especially with technology. And I can't help but be fascinated by it. So between media bias and digital divide, I think I'm just interested in how we use our technology, and how it's expanding. So that was easy for me to understand, and I like those topics very much.